The call for service came across the radio, and I immediately responded. I did come from the metro area. There were 2 other deputies that we had out. Unfortunately, we have had train derailments. I've personally dealt with one that dealt with lumber derailing literally 3 miles back west of town, probably 2 or 3 years earlier. So I don't want to use the word complacency. Obviously, we definitely kicked it into gear, but I didn't even fathom the magnitude of this being crude oil.
And when I left home, I could see just black, the heaviest black smoke that you'd ever want to see. I mean, it was incredible.
And one of the train cars exploded. So you get this great big mushroom cloud of flame going up pretty high. And we walked back a little further and another one did it. You could feel it. A mile away, you couldn't feel the heat, but you could sure feel the tremor of it.
We could stand inside our house and feel each fireball heat come through the walls. So.
The cloud was awful black and awful dirty. There are a lot of things in there that could give folks, particularly with breathing problems, some trouble.
It would appear at like the height of the clouds, you know, from standing here.
So you couldn't miss it?
No, nope, you couldn't miss it. It was bright orange.
It was pretty impressive. The Sheriff's Department, I've never seen so many sheriffs, the emergency vehicles out here in such a short time.
Things were burning and things were, you know, tank cars were imploding, and it was a dangerous situation. How many times you think back thinking, oh, I'm glad the crew made it out of the engines, because I don't know if we would have been able to get in there and get them.
So we utilized media outlets. We started making decisions from the command center where we needed to start evacuating the whole city. Phenomenal response, believe it or not.
Well, we knew what we had, but we didn't know what chemicals were, what gives off when crude oil burns, like the benzene and the sulfite, you know, all the nasties.
And it was door-to-door knocking on doors, making sure that people were had listened to the radio or had access to the radio, listened to the TV, had access to TV phone calls, trying to heed the warning where we have to get out of this city or bad things could happen.
It was about less than 24 hours. They kind of started letting people back around 2 o'clock the next day. The main concern, from what I heard and visiting with the officials, was the black smoke.
The black smoke was heading to the southwest corner of town, and it was pretty low. We evacuated farmsteads around there.
Particulate was second nature to everybody. You know, you heard the word particulate and how harmful it can be and what can it do, the havoc it can do for asthmatic patients, elderly, it just as far as with the lungs and what it could do if you were to inhale it in a considerable amount.
You know, if it would have happened in town here, we would probably have loss of life. We would lose structures. We wouldn't be able to fight the fire along the tracks. We would have to do, you know, make sure nothing else is burning. We're going to have to sacrifice structures. It's going to be a really tough decision when the time comes.
You got to hope you're lucky. If it does it in the middle of town, we're going to be in problems, just like St. Cloud or any other city. That if it happens in the middle of town, there's going to be issues.
Well, it would have been a tremendous tragedy. If that thing would have been another half a mile to the east of here, it would have been right here. And if it would have went off in town, there was no way that you could have went through something like that without loss of life.
And I don't know that anyone's gotten any more paranoid about the train after it. Maybe we should be.
I think there's some kids that were maybe traumatized a little bit with it, but you know, time heals most of that stuff.